What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, showcasing the weirdest combo probably that I've ever made. And there's a card that I've seen. It's this card I'm talking about is number 67 Paradise Smasher. This card is VFD, so pretty much. So what you can do is you detach two materials. You and your opponent roll a six-sided die twice. Whoever rolls the higher amount of the two combined, that person cannot activate monster effects or attack until the end of the next turn. So obviously if you activate it during your turn, your opponent can't activate monster effects. So in a sense, technically better than VFD because your opponent can't like top deck imperm or anything like that and change it. So yeah, like they have like mirrored effects. Now the only problem is you need to have three materials, and it's a rank 5, and that's obviously not easy to do. Well, actually, it's not really that hard. So let me show you some cool stuff. So the whole thing is like in the way the key to the whole deck is that you have to be able to make Gossip Shadow, and through the this little level 4 engine, which is probably the best in the game, the like Onomat cards or whatever. They do have like a lot of like level manipulation, so it's like kind of like in archetype possible to do this. I'll show you one, and I'll talk about a few others that you can do. So at the same time you get Gossip Shadow, you're also doing your level 4 stuff, which is really, really cool. So yeah, as long as you control, I think, a Gaga monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then on special summon you can target a Gaga and it becomes that level. So obviously 2 rank 3s is cool for Gossip Shadow. Onomat pickup lets you level manipulate, so as long as you can bring this out in the field, a lot of times you just like make all these XYZs, you only have 2 out, you use the Onomat pickup, they make all of them level 3 by targeting this, and you can go into Gossip Shadow that way. There's also an Astral card that lets it become level 3, so it's like kind of like endless possibilities, but here we go. Here's Gossip Shadow. Now one thing I do play in this deck is this little Tellarknight engine, and it helps you go into F0. But one thing about this rank 4 engine that is so good, like the pickup stuff, I think it's the best. But there was one thing you definitely want to include in your end board, because the weakness of rank 4 decks is Omni Negates. They don't really have access to them, so like evenly match is so deadly. So the way that you kind of get around that is to go into Sargus, because it searches you Regulus. But before, like, I was just like playing a random like Spriggans monster, so I could put a machine in the graveyard. But actually, through this Constellar engine, you just so happen to, and it's also just like generic. These just requires 2 level 4 monsters. It gets you insane amount of advantage. It searches you like a reborn, and you get to rank this up, go into Trevor. It's so cool. So like one of the Tellarknight monsters, this one specifically is a machine. So it kind of just like works out perfectly. So Deltros, I always say Trevor, it's Deltros, can pop itself, and then when it's sent to the graveyard, it can bring itself back. So I still have a level 4 on the board. F0 actually like doesn't really mean anything. It just like so happens to be that way, because you're gonna lock your opponent out of using monster effects anyways. But it is what it is. But I'll showcase the end board because, like I said, like you're gonna lock your opponent out of like monsters. So you'd think like, what if you're playing a trap base deck? But you can actually like, your opponent would have to open like 5 perfect cards. You'll see like you can actually just like pop most of the back row anyways. Where you also have an Omni Negate here. So there we go. Gossip Shadow can attach it. So me and my opponent would do the 2 dice roll. I can give my opponent a 7, so obviously they're gonna have like a super high like total. And then during your opponent's turn, you can also just go into Hope Harbinger, So if your opponent has spells, this is at least 1, right? Spells and traps are the only thing you're worried about. Your opponent can't do anything with monsters, can't special summon, can't activate monster effects. So again, this card doesn't really do anything, but you can special summon your opponent's turn whenever you want. So that's going to trigger Sargus to pop 1. And then you can also like have an Omni Negate for the other one. And actually, if you do use the effect of this card to attach onto a pair of dice, because I didn't do that, use like the rank up magic effect, you can actually like trigger this again, the Sargus, after the dice happens. So you can pop like more back row, and you just have so many answers. So again, like your opponent have to open up something so insane, like most of the time, because your opponent can't do anything with monsters, like, it's usually just a scoop. I can't imagine it's not an FTK. But yeah, that's a silly little combo. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Other than that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.